Welcome to the Lalulah podcast, real life conversations about modern sexuality and how to live a happy, healthy, turned on life. I'm your host Laura Allen, a holistic health coach and founder of Lalulah, an online platform offering natural erotica toys as well as the educational tools you need to expand your pleasure in and outside the bedroom. Welcome back to another episode of the Lalulah podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am interviewing Maria Abercrombie and we are going to be talking about healthy sexuality, self-love, and all of that juicy stuff after sexual abuse. So I just want to let you know that some of the content that we're going to be discussing in this episode could be really triggering for some people. And if you are feeling really sensitive and if you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about this content, then I really want to invite you to just look after yourself and park it for now. Alternatively, you're more than welcome to contact myself. You can contact Maria. We're always happy to talk and perhaps guide you in the right direction to get the support, the professional support that you might be needing. So, yeah. Okay, let's dive in. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Oh, yum. We're sitting here at Maria's house in the sunroom and it's beautiful. We've got blueberries and tea and pineapple and crackers and just the sun is like beaming into this beautiful space. And yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you for having me, Maria.
Thank you for being here. It's really nice to have you here and share this nice space and tea.
Yeah, always
and
tea.
Energy. Yeah.
I'm so grateful to have you on the show. I know I just said that, but I want to say it again because it's so brave of you to be so open about your experience. And I'm really happy that we have made this happen because, yeah, I think a lot of healing can happen just in simply hearing other people's stories and hearing how they have navigated their lives and sort of gotten back to themselves after such a experience. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for being interested to hear
Yeah.
and for putting a show because I feel it's really important and I feel that it's because something like that happened to you, it doesn't need to mark you for life. And it doesn't need to, restrain how you feel about yourself, about your body, about like your relationship to your body. And it's just really nice to be able to share. Thank you.
Yes, I love that. We don't have to be victims to our circumstances, do we? So it's kind of a...
No, you don't, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a process to move through it all, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a journey that you might go through forever, but it's a journey that it can be beautiful. It can be challenging and it is quite tough, but I think once you get through the hardest part, it can be really beautiful finding yourself in a different way and it's kind of like falling in love with yourself again, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Constantly falling in love, re-falling in love again and again and again. So what is the hardest part?
I found it that, we had a chat about this before and I had it that before I was aware what happened to me. And then when I was 25, I went to a Vipassana, a 10 days meditation retreat. And everything came up and I couldn't not be aware anymore. And it was when everything came up and it was crystal clear what happened.
Right.
And after that's when I found out that maybe the accepting that happened to me.
Right, so you were kind of going through life up until the age of 25 almost not knowing that it had
That's-
happened.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it was totally packed in a box, like in the basement of the house of the
Or like
brain.
hidden, like really hidden.
Yeah,
like,
just,
oh my God.
it's like not a thing.
Yeah.
And then you went to Vipassana, which for those who don't know what Vipassana is, it's the 10-day silent meditation retreat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's when this box just kind of rocket launched out of the depths.
And it just doesn't let you, I mean, it's 10 days and you're meditating for 12 hours a day. And there's nothing else to do but meditate.
So
Right?
there's no hiding,
There's no hiding.
nothing to distract yourself with,
Nah.
no numbing medicine.
No books, no anything.
Yeah, so you just faced
Yep.
with it. So do you feel like that was kind of that awareness piece, just like realizing, oh my God, this happened, and then the acceptance, that was the real.
I think it's really hard because I feel that, you know, when you like see things, they always talk about someone else. So it's 1 in 3 girls. So 1 in this, that person, she went through, or he went through, but it's the third person. It's never you. And it's kind of like, you know, I was pretty enough, I was intelligent, I was smart, my family was like, you know, wealthy and beautiful on a paper, and people knew my family and people knew me, and my friends were the best friends, and a girl could, you know, ask for. I went to private school.
Yeah.
Like, things doesn't happen to girls like me.
Right, so you had a good life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And life always been really good to me. I had all the good stuff.
Yeah.
As like good friends, good people around me, good experiences, good kind boyfriends. So it was, and that happened to me in a way. And it's kind of like how. And I think as well, the person who did was a person that I loved and I respected. So my dad respected, my family respected.
Yeah.
And society respected him, and, you know, it was loved and adored, and I adored him. And it's kind of like, oh my goodness, actually, this person did this to me. It was a thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like you want to share a little bit more detail about what happened?
So yeah, sure. Started when I was 8 years old. He was an uncle, and it went on till I was 17 years old. And so I was always on their house over the weekend.
Yeah.
Because my dad, like, we had always had a really good relationship with the auntie and uncle, and honestly, that auntie was like amazing to me, and I loved being in their house, and I loved my cousins, and they lived at the beach, and so it was way nicer, you know, like we would go and kick and play and have lots of fun. But then at night, he would go to bed in the middle of the night, so I would always wake up in the middle of the night, and he would masturbate me himself or do any kind of that sort of related. He never did any penetration. That was very intimate, you know, like he would rub his penis against my thighs. He would do a lot of, I don't know how much you want to keep on going, but it was tough. And as a little kid, I would wake up and all of that happening, and it felt really uncomfortable and really hard, but I just closed my eyes and I just froze, and I was just hoping that would go away.
So that freeze response. Yeah.
And, you know, like, think about it. I was a little girl. He was a massive man in our behaviour. And, I would wake up and would be taking my undies off and rubbing himself and using my hands. And I literally, all I would do was just freeze and just like, oh my gosh, can you please go away?
Yeah.
Right?
So even when you were that young, you still sensed that it wasn't right, or that you didn't want to, and it was it didn't feel right for you. But I guess when we're that little, we don't have the skills to even comprehend that or communicate that, or
You don't have the language. I mean,
No.
I was really little, and when I wake up in the morning, it was like nothing was nothing. And like, he would shower me in gifts as well.
Okay.
And all the cool stuff, he would take me to do all the cool stuff. As like, my family was like big in water skiing, and he would he would take me to all the stuff that I wanted to, and
Yeah.
he was
Okay. Yeah.
so during the day he was this awesome man that just let me be and taught me heaps of other things and encouraged me and said, oh my gosh, you're really good at this. I remember I used to write, and he would read. He was the only person that kind of sat down with me and read and be like, oh my God, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And but then at night that would happen. And the question that a lot of people ask me is like, well, but when you grow older, like, did you not know? And I did lost my virginity when I was 15 years old. And funny enough, when I first saw a penis as like my boyfriend penis, I was like, oh my God, this is a penis. I was so unaware of what it was. And the first time I masturbated my boyfriend, I was like, oh my God, what is this? Why you do this? And I was like, and if you think about it, I'm like, I've been doing this for years.
Right.
Without knowing that it was there.
Oh my, yeah, okay, right. So it's just going into the subconscious archive in your brain when it's happening. It's just, yeah.
And so when I lost my virginity, I was 15 until that all stopped, which I was 17 years old. It was really tough because I was a bit more aware, but I couldn't, this freezing thing, I just couldn't break that through. And I was in the house a lot back then. So what happened then, I moved to my mum's house. And my mum lived a little bit further away. So up until then, I used to live with my dad and my stepmom. And they had moved to a city really close to my school.
Yeah.
So I went there every day. And I would say pretty much over the weekend as well. Right?
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, and funny enough, it was so oblivious that what was happening, but at the same time, I kind of understood a little, and it's just that freezing thing. It's really like be locked in a bedroom and you're trying to get out of it, but your body just does not respond to you.
Yeah. And that's really terrifying. It's sort of like being in a nightmare where you've got this monster chasing you, and I don't know if anyone else has had these dreams, but I've had them, and it's I can't talk, I can't walk, I can't move, I'm in total freeze, but my safety is being jeopardized, so it's really scary.
Yep. Yeah, so that would have happened, and this whole freezing, like I can't move, it would just kept going until he was done and left me alone.
Yeah.
And I was just left there hoping to be better, and then I got just back to sleep, and in the morning I was like, nothing has ever happened.
Right. And did you feel comfortable around him during the day, or was there this like lingering resentment, or?
No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
During the day he was this awesome man. It was awesome being around him. I cuddle him a lot as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he was kind of my superhero.
Wow, it sounds like there would have been a lot to unpack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm not a trauma specialist, but I can only imagine that the sort of road to recovery would have involved like so many different modalities of understanding and healing and unpacking what's happened and finding yourself again. So once you sort of went to this Vipassana retreat and realized, oh my God, okay, this happened, what happened then? Like, how did you even begin to sort of, one, wrap your head around that, and then two, start to put the pieces together? And yeah.
I think it might be a lifetime putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When I came back, my mind was so clear, crystal clear, and I focused my energy on my job at the time, and I actually got promoted as soon as I got back. I was just really into a career at the time.
Yeah.
And I put all my focus then, and I was like, I'm going to do a yoga teacher training. And all the meditation, all the yoga kept me, actually, you can't run away from that again, you know? At that time, I told the guy I was with, I told a friend in Brazil, my best friend in Brazil, and I didn't tell anyone else, and I was like, this is it. It's in the past, I don't need, I put all that really strong face. It's in the past, it's need to, done. I don't need to deal with that. I had a cousin, like my best friend cousin, getting married at that time, clearly different. She was a different cousin.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
Different parents and stuff, a different auntie and uncle, so my godparents, and it was the first time I was like, I'm not going because I can't face the family. So that was the first red flag that was like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And I didn't even explain to her why I wasn't going. I just ignored all her messages, ignored my entire family.
From your mum or your whole family?
My whole family.
Yeah, okay.
I just didn't talk to anyone. And I think that's the benefit when you live across the world. So I'm from Brazil, if you haven't picked from my accent.
Yeah.
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 And I've been living in New Zealand for the last 8 years.
Yeah. So do you think that moving to New Zealand was a little bit of a running away thing?
Absolutely.
Even if you didn't know it at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I flew to New Zealand for the first time, it was really interesting. I had this I landed, the plane landed, I could feel this energy, and I can't explain to you, it's just this healing sort of energy, and someone told me, in my ear, whispered in my ear, you're staying here, this is home now. And a 20 years old Maria would never think I was going to stay here forever.
Yeah.
Or for more than a year. I had an amazing life in Brazil, I thought I had. I had a great job, I just had to finish university. I was all my friends, my friends actually, they're still the best, they're amazing. And I thought, no, I'm here to learn English, I'm here to have an OV, I'm here to, meet new people, but I'm going back.
Yeah.
And I think when I came here, I just got in touch with the right people, and they've been kind of putting me on the right path for the healing.
Yeah. So life just sort of, yeah.
I don't think you need to run away that far.
No, yeah.
But it was staying. I didn't know at the time, the first time I was I'm going to stay here for 1 more year. It was a running away, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because at one side of me was I really want to go back because I love that. But as soon as I was here, I felt so much safer.
Yeah.
And I lived in so many houses. I flirted with so many people here. And every time I was oh my gosh, I feel home. And I had this feeling that I never had it before. That's why I was always kind of no, I'm going back to Brazil next year. No, next year. No, next year. I might as well apply my residency just in case, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I'm I'm not going back.
Yeah. So it must have been, space is really important for these sorts of things when you're trying to sort of heal from something, or get some perspective and some clarity, it can be really difficult to do that. Because do you think that you could have gotten to the point where you're at now if you had been constantly surrounded by your family in your old environment? Do you think you would have had the same opportunity to heal?
I feel that because of who I am, I feel I will get there eventually.
Yeah.
But not now.
Yeah.
I feel that so he clearly didn't do just with me. He did do with a lot of people.
Okay.
And a few of them, because they're a lot older than me, I'm probably the youngest, or not the youngest. I'm like on the youngest part. They are a lot, like, over 10 years older than me, and they like married and have babies, and they did all of that, and they're like, oh my God, yes, that happened to me too.
Mm-hmm.
He did that to me too.
Once you spoke up about it,
yeah,
it all sort of came out.
Yeah.
And then that sort of caused the drama of the service.
Yes.
Yeah. The newspapers and and all the stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else did you do for yourself? Like, you started doing a yoga teacher training, and it was like really clear that you couldn't run away from it anymore. You were sort of constantly being faced with this reality, and you were being forced to deal with it. But what did that look like for you, and what does that mean? Like, what did you actually do?
So I started talking to my friends.
Yeah.
And then one of my good friends were like, and how about your sister? And I'm like, I haven't talked to her. She's like, well, this is a good place to start.
Okay. So communication was like the first thing.
So I went to my sister, and my sister said, fuck, me too.
No way.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when she said me too, and we sat down and we talked about heaps, I went back home and I started telling my friends.
Okay.
And I think talking to my friends was like a really big thing, and they didn't really have resources to help me.
Yeah.
They were all my age, and they were like, what the fuck, what do we do? And I was in pieces. I wasn't well. I was really upset, and so I told my work, and I had this awesome friend that was my boss, and I told her, and I'm like, this is what's happening. I can't focus. I'm having panic attacks every second day. I'm on the road, and it just like comes to me, those feelings, and I'm a very visual person, and I'm not sure how to explain, but like, I could feel him. I was a bit driving. I could feel him. I could kind of like get the ear, like my ears could like feel his breath again. So kind of I started remembering, like I started having this flashback of every night thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it looked like for me. It was really scary. It was a very scary time. So I meditated heaps.
Yeah.
I did a lot of yoga.
Yeah. Just to sort of calm your nervous system, because it sounded like you were sort of in a lot of like flight as you're starting to really relive this trauma. Again, like if you are experiencing a lot of like triggers around this conversation, like, yeah, please get in touch with us and we can point you in the right direction to like specialists who deal with this kind of stuff. But from my personal experience and from listening to some of the mentors that I've heard talk about trauma, is that it's actually a physiological response, and what happens is you go through an experience and it stays in your body because you weren't able to finish it. So, and it sounds like that's what was happening to you.
Oh
You're
God.
like fist pumping right now.
Yeah. Because it was exactly what happened. Like, it was just like that. My body, I could feel the trauma, right? Yeah. And as a kid, I was very fit. I looked really good. As like I had like 6 abs as like 10 years old because I was very sporty, right? And up until then, I had like a really fit body. Like I loved my body, and I started having this oh my God, it's my fault because I'm just this, you know, like I'm so liberated. I'm like, I don't care about people seeing me naked. I got such a good body. It was my fault. It was my fault.
You were asking for it because you were attractive.
Yes.
Is that what you were thinking?
That's right. So, and I was doing all of those things. I was meditating. I was yogging. I was yogging like a crazy. I would run 5K and then go to yoga, and then I'd go to the gym, and then I'd go to yoga again, right?
You're just dying for this, like, sounds like you just want to get it out, right?
Yeah.
You've got this in your body and you're sort of starting to relive it, and you're still, like, learning the skills to, like, process it properly. So you're like, yoga, run, rah,
Exactly. And funny enough, I got bigger and bigger and bigger. I put a lot of weight on.
That's fascinating.
And I was doing, like, green juices and more weight I put on, more I was restricted with my diet, more exercise I was doing, and I was just putting weight on and weight on and weight on.
Oh my gosh, so that was your body's response to trying to protect you, because these emotions, right? And this thing that you're, like, trying to process is so... Yeah, and when we don't have all of the tools, like, to deal with it safely, like, I don't, you know, how they take you through all these things, then yeah, your body, wow, that's just amazing. Like, puts on all of this, like, beautiful layers to help keep you safe, like a big cushion, like a big blanket. It's like, here, I'm going to put a big blanket around you so that you don't have to feel this way.
And it was a really big blanket. I had to start buying a whole new wardrobe. Like, on my size 6 went to 8 and then 10. I'm like, oh, I need to go to the 12s now.
Wow, yeah.
And I never been bigger, and I was a lot bigger than I was. And it was really funny, and nothing was working. So I stopped.
You stopped?
I stopped trying that hard.
Okay.
I stopped. I literally calmed the fuck down.
Right.
Instead of doing vinyasa, I started going to in yoga.
Yeah, so the slower, like...
Very slow and very calming, and I stopped trying so hard because I was, you know, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, doing an hour meditation, going for a run, coming back, going to yoga, reading a book, working 12 hours, going to the gym and the betraying, and then going, and I stopped. I was like, no. I stopped working so hard. I stopped trying so hard.
Right.
I'm like, I've kind of got to this point. It was like a year and a half into it. I'm like, okay, I've been doing all of that. Nothing is working. I can feel it in my body. I could feel it. And I'm like, you know what? Feel it. This is what I'm going through. This is it. And I've made reminders of myself. My whole room looked like a reminder thing. I said, you're enough. I put like, I am enough. I made a note on my, like the first thing when I woke up, it was my window, and I read a note to myself saying, good morning, darling. I love you so much. You are beautiful, and you are stunning, and everything is going to be okay. XX, Maria.
Yeah.
And I made it, so all those notes, how much I loved myself, and I wrote a letter to myself. And it was like this really like sincere letter to myself, and I kind of like put in an envelope, and I'm like, I'm going to pack it away, and one day I'm going to find it when I need it. And I started doing all, just, you know, calming down. I started doing a lot of colouring in, a lot of in yoga. And then when I wanted though, not when I wasn't pushing myself to do it anymore. You know, I was just like, I feel like going, or like, I feel like actually eating a piece of chocolate and not going.
Right. So I'm kind of hearing this, and it sounds like all of that, waking up at 4:30, meditating, doing the yoga, doing the run, working, was actually not serving at all, because it was even more of a distraction, and it was a little bit, it was hiding essentially still. I mean, yeah. You would have gotten a lot of insights out of that practice, I'm sure, but you weren't allowing yourself that space, that spaciousness to actually process what was coming up for you.
Yeah, I was doing what I had to do, you know, what I thought I need to do, not what I needed. I wasn't looking inward and be like, hey Maria, what do you need today? You know, I was just doing all those things because I thought that was the way to, you know, and honestly, I was doing my best and I did what I had to do at the time.
Absolutely.
But, you know, when I was like, I'm going to go surfing, I'm a crab surfer, but, you know, I went to the ocean and I was like, oh my God, I didn't catch eye wave, but I went under the waves all the time. But it felt amazing.
Yeah.
I started doing walks at the beach.
Beautiful.
You know, just like, oh, look what I see. Oh, yeah, I feel cold. You know, like being really honest with my body and with myself.
Beautiful. I mean, that's self-love, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and it's just really getting to know yourself, what you need, and then actioning that.
Yeah. And so I started eating lots of cheese again because I went through a period I didn't eat pasta, white bread, sugar for like years. And then I was like, you know what? Whatever. No, I would make a beautiful salad, but then I'll also be like this ciabatta with butter and cheese and just really enjoy every piece of it. And I think that when I start accepting, I didn't lost weight like from the beginning, but then soon enough I actually started. I could feel it while I was doing in yoga. I could release, like it actually released, like I could feel my body just kind of like, I can't explain it. It's a feeling. It's like you in there, and I did not like in yoga for a long time, and that was the first time I was like, I'm feeling my body, and it actually feels really good.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, because yin yoga is really kind of sitting in a pose, and it's all about releasing in these poses for an extended period of time and really breathing into it.
Yeah.
So I can imagine there would have been lots of
releasing.
All of the releasing.
And also I've started doing counselling, and I did counselling for good 2 years. Yeah. I only stopped having counselling when I was about to give birth.
Yeah. I heard you say 2 years, and I'm like, God, is that all? I'm still in therapy.
No, I did it for 2 years every week for the sexual abuse, and it was really, really, really good. I also did NLP sessions.
NLP.
Neuro-linguistic program.
Ah, so yes. No, I have heard of that. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
It's kind of what Tony Robbins do.
Right.
He started with NLP.
Yeah, so it's neural linguistic programming.
Yes.
So it's reprogramming your like neural pathways in your brain with language and so on. Yes,
and it takes you. It's a very different sort of because counselling you talk about it, and there it's a more feeling, and it takes you to different places and be like, feel in your body, where is it? So it is really, like, I found combining with the counselling was really helpful.
Awesome.
And I think that it's a big trauma, and I did just one or just the other wasn't good enough, you know, like actually they're together.
Yeah.
And with NLP is looking forward a lot.
Right. Rather
than looking at it in the past. And so I found the combination of looking back to go forward was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hear that, because in talk therapy, you can, you know, that trauma can get triggered, and then you can be reliving in that traumatic space, like what you were saying earlier, like feeling his breath on your ears.
Yeah.
But then having something like NLP to like give you those tools to actually process that and like release it through the body. Yeah. And then you can sort of move forward a bit.
And I think another thing, when I stopped and was like, okay, feel it was accepting that I might have that for life, as in, I mean, not have there is like not a sickness, you know, like, or whatever, but like having there responsibility to go through and understand myself for the rest of the life. You know, like, it is a big trauma. It was a big part of my life, and a big time, like a long period of time hiding it as well. So I had like 20 years of uncovering to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I couldn't expect within a session or two to be cured and,
Yeah.
you know, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm fine, it's all good. But it was a lot to do with, okay, I might have to every so often that might come back, and here are the tools to use when it comes back.
Yeah.
And accept that it's okay, and, you know, and things will be okay.
Yeah.
Because I love myself, and my body's perfect, no matter what it has been through. It's been protecting me for the last 20 years.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, body.
Yes, like,
thanks,
thank
body.
you.
We'll just give ourselves a big hug. Thank you, body. Yes. Sounds like self-love has been a really big healing tool for you as well.
Absolutely,
like, just like learning, because self-love is one of those things, right? It's like a word that gets thrown around all the time, but
How do you do
what
it?
the fuck is that? Like, how do I self-love? Like, what does that even mean? It's such an acquired skill for so many, and it's not something that we get taught in school. And so
I feel that it's actually the other opposite. You got taught how to put everyone's needs and places and energies in front of yours. And if you do one thing, no, actually, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to do this, people are like, oh, you're so selfish.
Oh, yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah, self-love is selfish.
Yeah.
That's such a, that's a big story for a lot of people. Yeah.
So I feel like it's a tough road for, you know, for a lot of people. It's like, since you're little, don't you have to, and you're like, do I have to? Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have to go to this birthday party, because actually I'm feeling a little bit sick and I just wanted to lay in bed and read books.
Yeah.
Because I still love the person and adore, and I'm happy that it's their birthday, but I can't go. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And I think if you say, I don't want to go, people are like, oh my God.
Selfish. Yeah, well, that's it. Hey, that's when like communication comes into it, and just being able to really kind of speak from your heart and say, hey, look, I love you so much. I'm really happy it's your birthday. Happy birthday. I can't wait to celebrate you right now. I'm feeling under the weather, and it's best for me to just be in bed.
Looking after myself.
Yeah, looking after myself.
Or go for a walk, or, you know, have a tea.
Yeah. And then we'll connect again real soon.
Yeah.
And celebrate when we're all feeling full.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a, I mean, like, learning to self-love is a journey, and it's sort of a never-ending one, and it's definitely not linear. It's always going in circles. For me, it's always going in circles. But I like what you said earlier about falling in love with yourself, because in my experience with my self-love journey, I always find myself like falling deeper in love with myself. I'll go through a period where I'll be completely flailing, like, oh my God, I know nothing, like I've been doing this for years, and like I just feel like I'm in square one, like blah blah blah. But then I kind of wake up and I go, hang on, like, look at this life that I've created around me. And then the sort of lesson comes out of it, that silver lining, you know, when you go through like a really like big dramatic patch, and then that nugget of gold comes out at the end, and you're like, oh, finally.
Yes.
And yeah, it is. It's like, oh, I really am. I reached this like deeper sense of understanding and compassion and love for myself and my body, and I can hold space and I can self-soothe that much more now.
Yeah.
And it's really...
Well, I was running this one time, and that song I Will Survive came up.
Which one?
I will survive, hey, hey, you know?
No. I should know that.
You
It's
do
like
know.
a pop. I think I know it.
Of course you know, just because I'm saying like, Oh my god, I totally
Who's
forgot
it
this.
by? Okay, we're going to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, it's just like that song.
I
As
will
long as
survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, by my side. Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, and it says this part. It says, because longer as I know how to love, I know I will be alright. Right, and when he said that, those words, I stopped my running, and I was like, this felt like this electric thing came into my heart, and I was just like, that what was going wrong, and I was weak, and I cried, and I was just having this whole emotion thing, and I was like, this is what was doing it wrong. It was a lot to do because I loved the man that did all this sexual abuse with me. You know, I loved him. And what I understood that all the yoga, all the crazy things that I was doing, I was missing the point. Is like, I was hating myself because I still loved the man. Even though he did all of that, it was, yes. And when he said, as long as I know how to love, and I'm like, do I know how to love? Like, do I know how to love myself? Do I know how to love other people? Do I know what is love? And oh God, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to stop and feel what is love, right? I'm gonna have to stop and feel, and I had to accept that I still might love the man that did it, and I'm gonna have to really like accept it and kind of like don't judge myself for it, and just I'd be like, it's what it is, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And going through the process, of course, like, I don't love that man anymore, but I don't hate that man anymore as well.
Right.
I'm like, that was a person that was a little kid once and went through his all traumas and went through all the stuff, hardship. That's why he did all that to me.
Yeah.
And I don't love him, but I don't accept him, and accept that it's okay, everything, you know, like, I'm okay, and I love myself, and even my body that, you know, when it kind of feels like it's a tool for something not good, it's also a tool for myself, and that's the primary thing. And it's just kind of like taking ownership to your body. No, actually, those thighs are mine, and yes, they're quite big and chunky, but they're mine, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and they make me go for a walk every day, and I just love it. And my knees are mine, and, you know, like, my boobs are mine, and you know, my whole body is just like, it's mine. And I think that's that song, that loving, and kind of, that's when it's like the transaction between Maria hating and Maria having an understanding, and Maria going through all the trauma, relieving the trauma, to Maria loving herself and be like, actually, I can love myself. I'm not dirty.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not. I remember having 5 showers a day at one point. And going through, actually, no, I'm perfect, and I'm clean, and I'm beautiful, and I'm mine. I'm not anyone else.
Yeah.
That was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it was a real kind of mindset shift from doing all of the stuff, like the yoga and the meditation and the working out, and doing that from a place of punishment almost.
Yeah. Like, when you put it like that. Yeah, no, it does kind of feel...
Maybe not punishment's the right word, but it wasn't coming from a place of, I love my body, I want to move my body because it makes me feel amazing. I'm just going to go for a walk today because I want to be grateful for the fact that I have these thighs and they can take me places. Like, and I want to, like, dance and move my breasts around because, like, hello, like, look at this. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, no, it wasn't from that place. It was a place that, like, no, I need to do this, and I need to look a certain way, and I need to, I know yoga is good, so I'm going to keep doing it because But then, you know, it was when I was like, what is love? When I asked the question, and I have to understand my feelings and understand, okay, I loved him, and I don't know how to love myself right now, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's when I stopped, and I'm like, okay, what do I feel? And sometimes it felt that I was being weak, that, you know, like, that I needed to try harder. And like some days I just cried for days. And it was really necessary for myself. And it was like when I started, like, I'm gonna let the tears just run down my cheeks.
Yeah.
That's when it felt, okay, I'm being actually really honest and kind and loving to myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the self-love. And writing, I felt as well, writing, when I start writing to myself, I know it sounds like a crazy person. And some of my friends were coming to my room like, righto, Vito.
Yeah.
Had all those notes like, hey Maria, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's actually how it got me. I'm like, actually, no, I'm pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really beautiful. Doesn't matter if I'm a size 6 or 12. I'm really beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you say would be like your top tips for learning to self-love? Like for someone who's, you know, brand new and has no idea, like, oh my God, I've heard of this thing, self-love, like, great. What do I do now? Like, what would be like just a couple of tips that you reckon, like physical, like tangible, practical things that people can do?
I felt that thinking of myself, so I had this, I'm a little bit crazy. So since I'm little, I always, when I felt like really sad, I will think of myself older, telling myself, like as a little kid, like, you'll be okay, like, you know, the sort of mothering and nurturing.
Right. Yeah. So is that kind of like really visualizing yourself as a younger version and actually just kind of like mothering yourself and like patting your hair and stroking the yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, that was really, because, you know, you look at a little kid, and if a little kid is crying, there is no way that you can't help yourself to want to like give a hug and be like, you be okay. And I feel that when I start having all those feelings, and I would go back to Maria, then when Maria was 10 years old, and I'm like, darling, you're okay. That's not your fault. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're okay. And I start doing that, and that's, you know, if you think of yourself little and really vulnerable and really full of life and so much to learn and doing the mistakes, and you just look at the little kid like she's perfect. You wouldn't tell the little kid that she isn't, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No.
You just say, no, honey, you are so okay.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and it's
totally.
Kind of like really just thinking of yourself and just giving yourself a big hug, that little girl, and be like, oh my goodness, you know, like, you're gonna do whatever you want to do, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna pass. You know, like, it was a big thing for me. And I usually would have this thinking and really visualizing myself as a little girl, and I would write it down, whatever came up, like no filters, right? And I feel that's probably my hot tip. If anyone were like, okay, I want to actually start the journey of loving myself.
Yeah. Self-soothing, like stepping into that mothering sort of space, and then
very nurturing, like anything. And does it matter if your mum hasn't done that to you?
Yeah.
Because I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's how you would like to be served and how you'd like to be hugged. You know, and you can feel it, like really just feel yourself as the little one, so you can feel the little one being the love feeling, the love blanket, you know, that the older person is looking after you, but the older person is yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Great one. I've actually only just started learning how to do that recently, and I'm quite surprised. And I always feel a lot of resistance doing it as well, because I'm like, oh, this feels so weird. This is so crazy and silly, and like, you know, all of that kind of egoic story stuff that comes up that just stops you from doing these things that are going to be really good for you. Yeah, but it has been really beautiful, and like kind of being able to lie back and fall into this caring space that I've created for myself is just, yeah, it just feels really nice, and I feel so much stronger in my body physically and emotionally, and it's been really beneficial, especially if I'm going through something, like if I get triggered in my relationship or at work or whatever, I can kind of self-soothe essentially and kind of go, no, it's okay, we've got this, instead of like spiraling out of control and like feeling really alone in that.
It's a funny thing. I remember when I was 10 years old, I was really upset, and I remember being at the end of my bed. I was sitting down and I was crying, and it was the middle of the night and I was not okay, and I was like crying really like quietly so nobody could hear me. And I was like, this thing came into me, and I was like, I imagine myself 10 years older, and I imagine myself being really successful and really happy and really loving, and I put it there all together, because of course I was only 10 years old, and then Maria, the 20 years old Maria, went to my 10 years old self and be like, you'll be okay, you're gonna get through this, and you will thrive. And so it is something that somehow always got installed on me. But of course, when I was little, I would look up to this future Maria that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was loving, and it was cool as heck, and it was like full of everything that I wanted. And I would go to her, imagine her, and she would help me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And now I just kind of do the other way around. Like, you know, I look at the 10 years old Maria, or the 8 or the 14, and I'm like, buddy, you're okay.
Oh.
You know, like, you're really okay. And I think if you're around kids, you've got a nephew or niece, or, you know, like anyone that friends has a baby or a kid, you will never tell a little one that she's not enough, or he's not enough, or he can't do anything, you know, like, you don't.
No.
Because you don't want to, like, just, like, trim their dreams.
Yeah.
So I feel that's kind of the sort of same when you do have and you think of yourself as younger, because you're always going to be young, you know, the younger version of yourself, and you're kind of looking at this little yourself, and it's kind of like, right.
And be encouraging.
Yeah, you actually, like, I'm not going to trim your dreams, you know, I'm not going to, like, cut and the fun out of it, you know, like, I'm actually tell you that you actually can do, and it feels really powerful.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And what a beautiful way to sort of manage the sort of like opposition dialogue that can happen in there, right? All that chatter that can tell you that you're not enough and this is a stupid idea, and like, you know, you should just you know, like, not do that, basically. Yeah, and all of that stuff that can keep you small. So that sounds like a really beautiful way to kind of like counteract that and really get in touch with like your essence and your core, and just be like, actually, honey, you're doing good. Yes. And you're going to do good. And you just need to keep doing good, because it's all going to be good.
Yeah, and I feel like on that sort of, I was such in a hurry to be like, have this career that is going to be amazing, and I had to go really fast because, you know, I was running out of time, you know, I don't know running out of what time, but, you know,
yeah,
I was just want to like buy a house and make millions, and then was kind of like, when I'm like, okay, actually, I have the rest of my life, I can enjoy the way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to be so into it that I'm not actually being with myself.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah, it's just
Amen
like, actually,
yeah.
I can enjoy the ride, because I will get there, and I will enjoy while I get there.
Yeah. success is, I heard this great quote that summarizes this beautifully. It's success is liking what you do and liking how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah. And that's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's simple as that, guys. There's so much more I want to ask, but this is already 54 minutes. So I feel like we're going to have to wrap. I've got a couple of quick cues that I want to ask you. And the first one is, how do you cultivate more pleasure in your life?
How I cultivate more pleasure. I love my husband and we have amazing sex. And I don't know, every time and more I get into loving myself. I love having sex and I love having sex with him. It's just delicious.
Yeah.
And cultivated pleasure, if you're talking like that, I think, yeah, I feel sometimes I do look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, girl. Yes. And you know, and if you don't know me, I just had a baby, and so all the bits are a bit in the funny places.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? Look at this budget.
You're a mama. Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah. And I don't know, like sometimes I'm like randomly walking or doing whatever and I'm like, and it's just like thinking of the like juicy sex and I'm like, ooh. And I can't, and you know, when he gets home, I'm like, I need you right now.
Beautiful. So just like finding pleasure in like the eroticism of your relationship and your partner and yourself.
I think it started with yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And just really that confident, like, not that's confident, it's just like, actually, you know, go back to loving yourself where you are, what you're doing, and it doesn't matter. You know, I have a friend that just had a baby and she's like incredible, and I look different from her, but I look also incredible, you know.
Not comparing.
Not comparing. That's oh my goodness, yeah. Not comparing.
Wow.
It's like you look incredible as you are because it's you.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of like enjoying yourself and your body, and then you're bringing that into
My
your
relationship,
and
yeah.
that's kind of this, yeah.
And I know, and I look at him and I'm like, ooh, damn, you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. It's like when we are feeling like in our bodies and when we're feeling confident within ourselves, then that is just naturally going to ripple out into not only our romantic relationship, but all of our relationships. And you just want to share this juice because you're like, hello.
Yeah, look
Come
at this.
come and get some of this. I just want to like pour honey all over you. Like,
that's right.
come hither. Yeah. I love that. So what's one thing you've learnt about self-love recently?
I think after giving birth, and it's kind of like, you know, the first little bit is like, oh, how to bounce my baby body back, and you know, the like comparison, because my friend just had a baby on the same day and she looked amazing, and it was kind of like, actually, stop that right there. You just had a baby. I mean, you made a baby from scratch. You put this baby out in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
You cooked it in the oven. You like baked all the ingredients together. You put it in the oven. You cooked it, and then you like brought it out of the oven.
I know. And you know, this is beautiful, and actually, like, your body is amazing. And I was kind of like slowly, but surely, like telling you myself, like, actually, made a baby.
I just made a baby.
And I'm like, you know what, my body been through all of this and all of this going on, and I look incredible and I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like, you know.
I second that. Inside and out.
Yeah.
You know? Like really, yeah.
But it sounds like a little bit like silly talk, but like I literally look at myself in the mirror and sometimes it's like, you actually are so hot.
Yeah, I love that.
You know?
I love that.
It's just like...
so good. Just like walking out the door. I'm a huge fan of this. Just like glancing in the mirror and just like giving yourself a little wink and just being like, damn girl, like get it.
Yeah. Stop it. You're looking so good. I know, it sounds like crazy talk, but actually it's so good.
Get involved. It's amazing. Yeah. I love it.
If you expect other people to come and tell you, Like, why don't you tell yourself?
Yeah. When you are actually embodying that and radiating that, that's what will, of course, inevitably attract.
Yeah.
Okay, and my final question is, what is one of the most impactful books that you've read?
Oh, goodness.
Many. It's like really hard, I know.
I've read lots of books. Okay.
But just one. You can only choose one. Like, one that's kind of had the most significant impact on your life, I guess.
I'm a serious reader, so I had lots of books, but the one that came up in my head right now is Daring Greatly from Brené Brown.
Oh, she's amazing.
She is amazing.
Daring Greatly, I've actually not read that one. I've read a couple of her other ones, but yeah, Brené Brown, she is incredible, so we'll link to that in the show notes if you want to get a copy.
Universe Has Your Back. I know you said one.
I only said one. Every single person on this just like always just pops in a second one. I need to work on my boundaries.
But it's just kind of like I had a list. If anyone wants a list of books to read, I've read so many books, and it was like write it down the title so I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gabrielle
Bernstein.
That's right.
Yeah.
Universe Has Your Back. I think they are good combos, but Brené Brown, like, sometimes she really speaks to you.
Oh, she's just like, she's in the science of it all as well. She's so academic and well articulated and super well researched, and her TED Talks are great too. Okay, we'll like put a whole section of Brené Brown underneath this podcast for people who are interested. I did want to ask you one more question as well, and that was like, if people are listening to this and they're feeling like they do need some like support, other than obviously contacting us, like, are there kind of any other places or avenues that you can just recommend quickly to people if they need it?
So there is this organization called Help. It is dedicated for survivors of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Not for people, it's for women and children.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have many resources for men. Mm-hmm. And we know it happens. So, but definitely Help is a really good, because all the therapists are a specialist in sexual abuse.
Okay, amazing. And so is that like an online platform that people can just reach out to straight away, or?
No, you go for a bit of a waiting list, but they do, if you do Help Auckland, so help.org.nz, they will have resources and stuff in the website. Yeah. Right? Sure. And that is really good. That's probably like the best one to reach out, because if you're not in Auckland, they will help you to find help where you are. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I love that. I do know that in New Zealand, I've got some offshore listeners as well, but in New Zealand we've got lots of helplines as well that are kind of 24/7 counsellors that are available, and I've used them, zero shame. Like, I have totally used them, and like, sometimes there's just a moment where my therapist isn't available, and I don't want to talk to my friends or my boyfriend. It's like I need a professional to just help me calm me down, because I'm going through something really big, and those helplines can be so powerful. I know that we have them in New Zealand and Australia. You'll just need to Google it, because it'll be different for every single region or country that you're in. And I'm sure there's plenty of other services like that in other countries as well. It's just a matter of having a quick Google, and then of course people can reach out to myself or you if they want any more specific guidance on who they can talk to. So thank you so much. It was great. It's so good. It's like a big bowl of pineapple here that I can't wait to eat. Thank you, beautiful, and thank you everyone for listening, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to share it with someone who you think could benefit from hearing it too. You can also sign up for Lalulah news and stay up to date with all the juicy content that we only share on email. And I want to take a moment to honor you for following your curiosity and prioritizing your pleasure in this way. And until next time,
Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back with another episode soon.